Let's go out and play. A sweet little bunny, a smart little bunny, a cute little bunny, and friends.
Miffy loved to play in the snow. She loved to ride her sledge down the snowy hills. She loved to slide over the snow on her skis. She loved to lie in the snow and move her arms to make snow angels. What she liked best of all was to make big snow bunnies. It was a hard job, and she needed help to make them. Who do you think came along to help her? It was Snuffy the dog. Snuffy loved to run and jump in the snow, and when she saw Miffy trying so hard to push and roll a big snowball, she ran up and helped her. They pushed and pushed together. As the snowball rolled along, it picked up more and more snow. It got bigger and bigger. That's big enough for the snow bunny's body, said Miffy. Now we can roll a smaller snowball for the snow bunny's head. Miffy made a little snowball with her hands. Snuffy was able to push it along with her nose. But when it got bigger, Miffy joined in the pushing until it was big enough to be the snow bunny's head. Now we must put it on top of the big snowball, said Miffy. No matter how they tried, they could not lift the heavy snowball. Just then, Miffy's friend Boris Bear arrived. "Hello, Miffy," said Boris. "What are you doing?" "We're trying to make a giant snow bunny," said Miffy, "but its head is too heavy and we can't lift it." "I have an idea, Miffy," said Boris. "I was taking these planks to my workshop, but we can use them to make a ramp to the top of the big snowball." Boris placed the planks against the snow bunny's body. The planks made a perfect ramp right to the top of it. Now they could roll the smaller snowball up the ramp. It was still hard work, but it was not so hard as lifting it would be. There it was! At last! The snow bunny's head was resting right on top of its body. Then Miffy went to find 2 sticks to make the ears. She stuck the 2 sticks into the top of the head. "They don't look like bunny's ears," said Miffy. She had an idea. She packed snow firmly around 1 stick. She packed more snow around the other stick. 2 perfect bunny ears. Snuffy ran off over the snow and returned with 2 rubber balls she often played with. Miffy laughed. She pushed the balls into the snow bunny's head. "Now he has eyes," said Miffy. "He can see what a wonderful job we did. It was all with your help, Snuffy and Boris. You're such clever friends." Finally, Miffy added a carrot to make the snow bunny's nose. Now the snow bunny was complete. One day, Poppy Pig invited Miffy to her house for tea and biscuits. Miffy asked her mother if she could go. "Yes, of course you can go, Miffy," said Mother Bunny. "Be careful riding your scooter. It's cold outside and it might be slippery if it starts to snow." "I'll be careful, Mother," said Miffy. "And I'll be sure to bring some of Poppy's biscuits back for you." Miffy rode her scooter towards Poppy's house. She soon reached Poppy's house with no problem. Poppy had baked some delicious biscuits and made some tea. Miffy and Poppy had a lovely time together. Miffy forgot all about the time. Suddenly the telephone rang. "Hello, it's your mother, Miffy," said Poppy. "She says you should start to head home because it looks like it will snow." "Oh dear," said Miffy. "I've had such a good time with you, Poppy, but I really must leave." Miffy put on her coat and her scarf. She was ready to say goodbye to Poppy when she remembered her promise to her mother. "Can I take some biscuits home to my mother, please?" she asked Poppy. "Of course." Poppy put some of the biscuits into a little bag and placed it in the basket on Miffy's scooter. "Do be careful riding home on your scooter, Miffy." When Miffy began to ride home, it started to snow. She scooted along as carefully as she could. In a short while, there was so much snow that it became quite slippery. And when she tried to ride down a little hill, boom! Miffy wasn't hurt, but she decided to walk with her scooter the rest of the way home. At home, Mother Bunny was beginning to worry. "I hope nothing has happened to Miffy," she thought. Then she saw Miffy. What a relief! She quickly opened the door. "Hello, Miffy," said her mother. "I'm glad to see that you walked home with your scooter." "I started to ride," said Miffy. "Then I skidded and fell off my scooter, so I decided to walk the rest of the way. I wasn't hurt at all. I've brought you some of Poppy's delicious biscuits." Miffy looked inside the bag. Where were the biscuits? "Oh dear," said Miffy. "When I fell down, all of the biscuits got broken. Now there's nothing in the bag but crumbs." Just then, Father Bunny came home. "Hello, everyone," he said. "There is lovely snow everywhere. It's a perfect time for a sledge ride." "Oh no," said Mother Bunny. "That's way too cold for me. I prefer my warm oven. I will bake a fresh batch of your favourite biscuits." They all laughed. Then, while Mother Bunny was busy in the kitchen, Miffy enjoyed a ride on her sledge.
Miffy in the snow. One day, Miffy woke up and ran to the window. The sun was shining. Everything was white. Crisp snow lay on the ground and covered the red roofs. "Wrap up warmly," said Mrs. Rabbit. "Then you can play outside." Miffy put on her red cap, her woolen scarf and mittens, and her warm red boots. She ran out into the snow. Whoosh! Down the hill slid Miffy on her yellow sled, and whoosh! Off she tumbled, but she didn't mind. Miffy had new skates. The river was all frozen. Zig-zag, zig-zag, over the ice she flew. Next she made a snowman with a smiling face. His nose was a carrot and he wore a top hat. Suddenly, Miffy heard a soft cheep, cheep. Half buried in the snow was a bird with frozen feathers. Miffy cried when she saw how cold and sad it was. "Poor little bird," she said, "I will build you a house." She got some wood, a hammer, and some nails. Soon she had made a little wooden house. "Time for bed, Miffy," called Mrs. Rabbit. Miffy ran indoors. She was sleepy now. She peeked through the window at the snowy garden. "Good night, little bird," she called. "I'll play with you tomorrow."
Poppy Pig was passing by Miffy's house, pulling a cart, carrying a large Christmas tree in a pot. "Good morning, Poppy," said Miffy. "Where did you get that beautiful tree?" "Boris gave it to me, Miffy," said Poppy. "Christmas is coming, and I asked him if he could find me a nice tree." "What a good idea," thought Miffy. "We will also need a Christmas tree." Miffy went inside and asked her mother, "May I go into the forest to ask Boris Bear to find us a Christmas tree?" "Yes, Miffy, but you must be home in time for lunch." So off she went, across the meadow and into the forest. When she arrived at Boris and Barbara's house, they were already decorating their own tree for Christmas. "Hello, Boris," said Miffy, "and a Merry Christmas to you and Barbara. I would like to ask you if you can find a nice Christmas tree for our family." "Yes, I can," said Boris. "But you know I mustn't cut down a forest tree. I can dig one up for you and then put it in a pot so the tree can stay alive for next year." So they went into the forest and they saw many beautiful trees. Miffy saw one that was especially beautiful. "But I think that one is too big to put inside our house." "Well, what about that charming little one over there?" "Oh, that one is too small. All our Christmas tree decorations won't fit on such a tiny tree." Then Boris pointed to a medium-sized tree. "Do you think this one will do?" he asked. "Yes," said Miffy. "That's a lovely one. Can you dig that one up for me, please?" So Boris dug up the tree, being very careful not to damage its roots. "I will bring it to your house tomorrow." Miffy was home just in time for lunch, and she told her mother about the lovely tree that Boris was going to bring them. The next evening, Miffy and her mother and her father were busy decorating the tree. It looked so beautiful and even had flashing lights. In the morning, Miffy was on her way to school and little Snuffy was running along with her. When they arrived at the school, there was Boris with a very big tree for the schoolyard. "Hello, Miffy," said Boris. "This is the tree that you said was too big for your house, but I thought it would be just perfect for your school." The school teacher and all the children were very pleased to have such a wonderful tree for their school. All the children were soon at work, making decorations for their new tree. It was going to be so beautiful. Then Boris knocked on the window. "I have another surprise for you, Miffy. I also brought the tiny tree. I think it will be perfect for Snuffy." "How wonderful!" said Miffy. "Snuffy's own special Christmas tree to put near her doghouse." All the school children were happy with their big tree. At Christmas, Miffy and her parents were happy with their medium-sized tree. And little Snuffy was very, very happy with her very own tiny tree. Miffy visits the North Pole. Miffy, Boris, Barbara and Snuffy were on a boat, heading for the North Pole. Snuffy was too excited to sit still and kept running from one end of the boat to the other. "We're almost there," Boris called out. "Hooray!" Boris and Barbara had family who lived at the North Pole, and Miffy and Snuffy were going with them for a visit. Boris let Miffy look through his telescope. She couldn't believe how much snow and ice there was. "It snows at home," said Miffy, "but I think it snows much more on the North Pole." Miffy laughed. "Oh, Snuffy, I know. We're nearly there." Boris sailed carefully past icebergs, and the boat quietly floated into the dock. While Boris tied the boat up, Barbara watched as Miffy took her first steps on the North Pole. Or tried to. The ground was covered with ice and snow, and it was very hard to keep her balance. But Snuffy didn't seem to mind the ice. She ran past Miffy, slipping and sliding. "Snuffy!" Miffy called out. "Wait for me!" Miffy slowly got used to walking on the ice. She looked around everywhere for any sign of Snuffy, but there was no sign of her anywhere. She looked in one direction, and then in the other direction. It was white as far as she could see. Miffy shivered. "It gets cold at home," she said, "but never this cold." "There you are," said Miffy. "And you found a new friend," she laughed. Then a head popped up over the top of another snow hill. "Hello," said Miffy. "My name is Umik," said the boy. "And that's my dog, Husky." Miffy and Umik laughed. I'm Boris and Barbara's cousin. And I'm Miffy. Come on, said Umik. I'll show you around. Have fun, Miffy, called Barbara. See you later. They had a lot of fun playing in the snow. And so did Snuffy and Husky. Miffy and Umik made a beautiful snowman. Finally, they stopped by the water's edge. This is my sledge, said Umik. Do you like it? Miffy nodded. Suddenly she spotted something out in the sea. Is that an iceberg? She asked. That's just the very top of the iceberg. Most of it's underwater, explained Umik. Then a spout of water suddenly rose up out of the sea. Oh, did you see that? Cried Miffy. That's a whale, said Umik. A whale's nose is on the top of his head, so when he breathes out, the air goes straight up in the air. And look, a baby whale too. Looking out at the baby whale and her mother, Umik suddenly remembered he was supposed to be home already. My mother doesn't like me to be late. Hop in, Miffy. Husky pulled them across the snow-covered ground in Umik's sledge, and Snuffy happily ran beside them. Umik's mother was waiting for them, with Boris and Barbara, and everyone was happy to see each other. We shake hands at home. It's a funny feeling to rub noses instead, said Miffy. But I like it. Miffy looked at Umik's house. Is it made of ice? She asked, surprised. Of course. It's an igloo, said Umik proudly. Come inside, where it's nice and warm. Warm? Thought Miffy. How could it be nice and warm inside a house made of ice? But it was warm inside the igloo. They had brought a present. And Miffy gave it to Umik's mother. It was a beautiful potted yellow flower. Yellow is my favourite colour. You've brought the sunshine with you. And she thanked and hugged Miffy. At home, we plant these flowers in our garden, said Miffy. I can do it for you. Miffy and Umik tried to dig a hole. They tried using their hands, but the icy ground was too hard. They tried using a shovel, but that didn't work either. Even Snuffy couldn't dig a hole in the North Pole's icy ground. When Umik's mother called them inside for hot cocoa, they took the flower in with them. As the sun was going down, it started to snow. Inside, it was warm and cosy. Everyone sipped their hot cocoa and enjoyed how good it tasted. Miffy looked at the yellow flower and thought about her garden back home. she saw Umik's crayons and got an idea. If we can't plant flowers outside, maybe we can plant them inside. Soon they were all making beautiful drawings. Umik's mother coloured her flower yellow. Even Boris joined in and made his flower red. The more it snowed outside, the more flowers they coloured inside. When they were finished, they hung all of the drawings on the walls of the igloo. "Now we have a flower garden," said Umik. "The first flower garden on the North Pole," cheered Miffy. When it was time to say goodbye, Miffy and Umik rubbed noses and laughed. Even Snuffy and Husky said goodbye to each other. "Thank you for your flowers, Miffy. I made you a present as a souvenir. Something to remember me by. A drawing of the igloo, the sledge, and the whale." "Thank you, Umik. I'll put it on the wall above my bed so I will always remember I have a friend at the North Pole." Soon they were on their way back home, and Miffy knew she'd never forget her time at the North Pole. One morning, Miffy woke up and looked out of her window to find that her garden was completely covered with white snow. She wanted to run out and play in it. "First, you must put on some warm clothes, Miffy," said Mother Bunny. So Miffy put on her woolen coat and scarf and ran out into the snow. "I think I'll make a snowman," thought Miffy, and she started to roll a ball of snow. Just then, Boris and Barbara Bear skied into Miffy's garden. "Good morning, Miffy," said Barbara. "Boris and I were out skiing, and we thought you might like to come too." "Oh, that would be fun," said Miffy. "I got a pair of skis for Christmas, but I haven't tried them yet." "Don't worry," said Boris. "We will teach you how to ski." Miffy was so excited. She ran into the house and got her skis. Boris held her while she put them on. "You look like a proper skier already," said Barbara. "Let's start at the easy level, on the flat ground." "Oh, look!" shouted Miffy happily. "I'm really skiing!" But then she fell. "Don't worry, Miffy," said Barbara. "We've been skiing a long time, but we still fall down sometimes." Miffy picked herself up and was soon skiing along nice and smoothly. "This is fun," said Miffy. "Let's ski up the hill to Auntie Alice's house. Then we can ski downhill on the way home." So they began skiing up the hill, but Miffy kept sliding backwards. Boris helped Miffy and showed her how to point the skis outward so that they could grip the snow. "I think I can do it," said Miffy. So she tried, and she found that it worked. It was hard work, and by the time they reached Auntie Alice's house, they were out of breath. Auntie Alice heard the swishing of snow and the huffing and puffing outside her house, and she came out to greet them. "Hello, mountain skiers," she said. "I think you all need a nice cup of hot chocolate." Boris, Barbara and Miffy took off their skis and went inside with Auntie Alice to enjoy some of her wonderful hot chocolate. "Thank you, Auntie Alice," said Miffy. "Now we are ready for the fun part, skiing down the hill." So they said goodbye to Auntie Alice and put their skis back on. "Be very careful skiing downhill," said Boris. "You have to learn how to slow down and not go too fast." But Miffy could hardly wait to start, and off she went, faster and faster down the hill. It was fun, but also a little scary. She forgot how to slow down, and when she came to a little hill, she flew right up into the air and landed in the snow. Boris and Barbara skied up to her. Miffy said, "This morning I wanted to make a snowman. Now I am a snowman myself." They all laughed. On a bright but very cold winter day, Miffy and Grunty were having fun throwing a ball back and forth in Miffy's garden. Snuffy was there too, running and jumping up, trying to catch the ball herself. Then, when Miffy threw the ball, Snuffy caught it in her mouth. Grunty had to laugh, and Miffy too. But when they wanted to continue to play with the ball, Snuffy did not listen to Miffy. "Snuffy, give me the ball," said Miffy. But Snuffy just ran away with it. Then Mother Bunny came out of the house and called, "Isn't it too cold for you to be outside, girls? Even the water in this flower pot is frozen. I have made some hot chocolate for you to warm you up again. Come in, girls." So Miffy and Grunty went in and enjoyed the delicious hot chocolate. Snuffy stayed outside, pushing and chasing the ball. Later, when the two girls were playing in Miffy's bedroom, they heard Snuffy barking and barking. And when they looked out of the window, they saw she was covered with snow. Everything was covered with snow. The snow had fallen so quickly that while they were inside playing, the whole world around them had suddenly become white. All excited, they ran to Mother Bunny. "Mother, Mother," said Miffy, "can't we go to the lake now? It will be so beautiful there, with the snow on the meadow, and maybe the lake will be frozen." "Yes, and we can take the ball too," said Grunty, "so Snuffy can play with it." Just then, Father Bunny arrived home and heard what the girls were saying. "I will drive you to the lake in the car, and I will test the ice on the lake to see if it is thick enough." So Miffy and Grunty and Snuffy all jumped into the car, and they drove to the lake. "Look," said Miffy, "the lake is frozen. We should have brought our ice skates." "Maybe you can bring them another day, Miffy," said Father Bunny. "But for now, I'm sure you'll have lots of fun playing with the ball in the snow." Father Bunny tested the ice. "If the weather stays cold, the ice will be thick enough to go skating in a few days," he said to the girls. "Good," said Grunty. "Let's throw the ball so Snuffy can run after it." That was their new game. Miffy and Grunty took turns throwing the ball out into the snow. And Snuffy had great fun too, slipping and sliding all over the icy snow, trying to catch the ball. She was having such fun. Then, when Miffy threw the ball again, it rolled away too far and onto the lake. "Oh no," said Miffy. "Now the ball is on the ice, and the ice isn't strong enough yet to carry us." But Snuffy had already gone after the ball. "No, Snuffy, the ice isn't strong enough yet," shouted Miffy. This time, Snuffy did stop and listen to Miffy. She turned around and ran back. They were all very relieved. "That was very good, Snuffy. In a few days, we will come back and get it for you."
sweet little bunny, a smart little bunny.